Greetings, everyone. So, I want to play you this clip of Jimmy Fallon that I found in a radio interview he did a number of years ago. For those of you who ever watch or have watched late night talk shows, you'll probably be surprised to know, or should I say, it's surprising, you may already know this, that quite a few of the talk show hosts are Catholic. Stephen Colbert, for instance, is a Catholic.
One of the things I like about you is that you're a Catholic in Hollywood. I'm not in Hollywood, but I'm a Catholic too.
You are.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. You are actually from a big.
Who's more Catholic than?
Who is more
Catholic than?
Are you challenging me to a Catholic throwdown? Are you challenging me?
Jimmy Kimmel is a Catholic.
I happen to be a Christian too. I made my first Holy Communion. I was confirmed. I pray. I support my church. One of my closest friends is a priest. I baptized my children. Christian is actually my middle name.
Conan O'Brien, I don't know if he still has his show, but he is a Catholic.
It's a Catholic event, and I think, they picked me because...
Catholic event? I've heard nothing. My phone hasn't rung once. I'm like a super Catholic, Irish Catholic.
And Jimmy Fallon is a Catholic. Now, sadly, despite so many of them being Catholics, you wouldn't know it when you listen to some of their monologues during their shows. The monologues are all very liberal.
These strict anti-choice laws put women's reproductive rights at risk. And thanks to these laws, not only is the right to get an abortion being threatened, even birth control is becoming more difficult to get.
The former president was arraigned on 34 felony counts. He was supposed to arrive at the courthouse around 11 a.m., but he didn't leave his building until after 1 p.m., which is pretty late, but in his defense, those SpongeBob episodes just keep auto-playing. You just gotta shut it.
There's nothing in them that would cause you to think, yes, that person is obviously a Catholic. They're generally very left-leaning and, as I said, very liberal. Jimmy Fallon is slightly different. He's probably the only one who tries really hard not to get involved in any political and ideological stuff on his shows. He just likes to try and be funny. He likes to do different sketches, musical ones a lot of the time.
Bonjour, it is me with my chest hair, you see. Do you think I'm sexy? I sure hope you say oui. I have good policies for the economy. I shall make my VP Emily in Paris.
And he generally doesn't get involved in the whole ripping on right-wingers, conservatives, ripping on the Republican Party. He tries to just keep that stuff out of his show. And I did find, while doing a bit of digging, an interview that he did on NPR a number of years ago, where he was asked about his faith. And during this interview, he actually said that, when he was young, he would go to church often, and he even wanted to be a priest. Now, in the interview, he does try to be quite humorous as well, because he was already known while doing this interview as quite a funny man and a comedic person, so he does try and put a bit of humor in there, but he does also say some things that I think are quite interesting. So I'll just play you this clip from the interview, and then have a little talk about it afterwards.
So you went to Catholic school when you were young.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have
I wanted to be a priest.
Did you really?
Yeah, I loved it. I loved the church. I loved the idea of it. I loved the smell of the incense. I loved the feeling you get when you left church. I loved how this priest can make people feel this good. I just thought I loved the whole idea of it. My grandfather was very religious, so I used to go to Mass with him at 6:45 in the morning, serve Mass. And then you made money, too, if you did weddings and funerals. They get like $5. And so I go, okay, I can make money too. I go, this could be a good deal for me. I thought I had the calling.
Do you think part of that calling was really show business? Because the priest is the performer at church.
Yeah, I really, Terry, I recently thought about this. I've never been to therapy, but I guess that would be, it's being on stage. It's my first experience on stage. It was as an altar boy. You're on stage next to the priest. I'm a co-star. I'm on.
Also starring Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, I have no lines, but I ring bells. And I swing the incense around. But it was, and you are performing. You enter through a curtain. You exit through the. You're backstage. Have you ever seen backstage behind an altar? It's kind of fascinating. Right. So I think it was my first taste of show business, I think, or acting or something.
And there are comparisons, I think, between a theater and a church. They're just kind of places that are separated from outside reality.
Yeah, and I remember I had a hard time keeping a straight face at church as well.
Did you?
Did
you do imitations of the priest?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I used to do Father McFadden all the time. He's the fastest talking priest ever. He'd be like, and then you leave and you go, what was that? That guy's the best. I mean, that was church? Sign me up. I'll do church. I'll do it 10 times a day if that's church.
So
he was great.
Do you still go to church?
I don't go. I tried to go back when I was out in LA and I was like kind of struggling for a bit. I went to church for a while, but it's gotten gigantic now for me. It's like there's a band there now, and you have to hold hands with people through the whole mass now, and I don't like doing that. It used to be shaking hands peace was the only time you touched each other. Mm-hmm. Now I'm holding now I'm lifting people like Simba. I'm holding them. I'm baptized. I'm doing too much. I don't want there's frisbees being thrown, there's beach balls going around, people waving lighters, and I go, this is too much for me. I want the old way. I want to hang out with the nuns. That was my favorite type of mass in the grotto, and just like straight up that just mass.
So as you can see there, Jimmy Fallon is essentially saying, he really liked going to church as a younger boy. As I mentioned earlier before playing the clip, he said he wanted to be a priest. And then at some point, he just decided that church got almost too modern, too progressive, you could almost say. He talks about the beach balls and all that, but essentially what he's saying is just that it wasn't really reverent enough. When Jimmy Fallon was young, it would have already been post-Vatican II. He didn't go to Latin Mass. He was probably going to Novus Ordo Mass, but even the Novus Ordo Mass right after Vatican II was probably still quite reverent. I mean, I know they brought it in, but it was still a very reverent Mass. And then he probably saw over the years, as time went on, that it was getting more modern, more liberal, more happy-clappy, and he just wasn't feeling that same thing that he felt there before. Now, I think to use that as a reason to no longer really go to Mass anymore is a bit of a cop-out. I mean, if you really want to, you'll find a Mass somewhere that is much more to your taste, to your liking. You don't have to just stop going entirely. I mean, Mass is an incredible thing. It's the most incredible thing happening in the world, so you should be going to it if you are a Catholic. In fact, you're told that you have to go to Mass. It's one of the rules that you have to go. If you miss Mass for no good reason, that's time to go to confession. But I did think that was interesting. I thought it was interesting to hear Jimmy Fallon talk about how the Mass has changed, how he's seen the Mass change, and how he doesn't like the changes that he has seen. Anyway, folks, that's it for this clip. Thanks very much for watching. Have a blessed day.